This is a tip about salmon and trout fillets that you might buy in the supermarket. If you want to cook it with the skin on, quite often actually the scales are on there. I have got this descaler, so you simply turn the fish over and you run it over and you get the scales off and you rinse it off. I actually keep mine in a paper bag in the drawer because these are so sharp, but it does mean that you can then cook it with the skin on and it's completely edible. When the film Arthur came out in 1980, whatever it was, with Dudley Moore and Sir John Gielgud, me being a foodie and always thinking about food, the scene in the hospital where he's looking after John Gielgud in the hospital and he orders trout almondine from Lutece. Well, Lutece is an iconic New York restaurant which no longer exists anymore. It shut in 2004, but I've always been obsessed with the trout almondine, which is, I'm going to make my version of it tonight. That was a pretty long introduction. Hopefully the cook won't be as long as my gabbing. Very few ingredients required for this cook. I've got some nice trout fillets, some almonds, capers, flat leaf parsley and butter. I am going to cook some new potatoes to have on the side, and I'm also going to steam some lovely spinach. I've talked about this before. I like to salt my fish about 15 minutes before I cook it. This is going to be a very quick cook, so get everything out ready. I am heating my pan and I'm going to drop some butter in. That is about 20 grams of butter. Get a tray out ready to put the fish on to let it rest. Over here, ouch, that's hot, I've got a colander sitting over some hot water ready to steam my spinach. I've already made my potatoes, they're sitting there covered up. I'm just going to wait for the butter to melt. Butter is bubbling. It's going in skin side down first, and that's probably going to cook for about 3 minutes. This has actually been about 2 minutes, and I'm going to flip it over. These have had 2 minutes on the other side as well, and I'm going to remove them and let them just rest. Into the butter, I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of almonds and let those cook in the butter for a little bit. At the same time, I'm going to put the spinach into the colander over the boiling water with a lid on to let it steam for a bit. After about a minute, just start turning the spinach. It won't take long to wilt. I'm turning that off and I'm leaving it to steam. The nuts are now nicely brown, so I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons of parsley and a tablespoon of capers. And I'm going to turn the heat off. And now I'm ready to serve. Wilted spinach going on the plate. I am just going to do a tiny bit of Maldon sea salt. The trout. And lastly, this gorgeous buttery almond mixture going on the top. And as I said, you could also serve it with some buttery new potatoes. I might put a couple on. Trout with almond butter inspired by the film Arthur.